or you can just go to the chat room and let me know. Nobody's hearing me? Anyone hearing me? Wave to me if you're hearing me. Wave to me if you're hearing me.
Yeah, we can hear you clearly, sir. Okay, right now, I think we are having some audio issues. I want us to just hold on. I'm seeing that a lot of people are sending chats in that they cannot hear any sound at the moment. I think we should just hold on. I think it's some network issues. I hope you can hear me.
Okay, I think I have been unmuted right now. The admin mistakenly muted me, but I think right now that the admin is able to unmute me right now, so I'm able to come back. I believe everybody can hear me now. Just post something in the chat room. Let me know you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir, loud and clear.
Okay, good. So I was saying that your immune system is one of your greatest allies in fighting disease, either in preventing disease or in overcoming existing disease in the body. Your immune system is one of your greatest allies. And so you want to do your utmost, you want to do your best to make sure you don't weaken your immune system and do everything to strengthen your immune system. And that's why today we are going to be learning about the immune system. So I'm going to be sharing my screen right now with you, my slides, so that we can go through it together and be guided by the slides. Okay, is that good enough for everybody? Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, good. So I'm going to share my slides with you right now. Okay, this is me. Tony Akinyemi is my name. I'm the senior pastor of the Shepherd's Flock International Church, and the founder of Rafa Institute of Healthy Living in Nigeria. I'm also the patron of the Reverend Tony Akinyemi Scholarship Foundation, where we offer full scholarship covering 100% of tuition to brilliant but indigent students from primary school through to university. Okay, so today I'll be talking to you about our immune system. A little bit about my background, again, for those who might be joining us for the first time. Number one, I trained as a computer engineer. I earned a bachelor's degree from the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, as a computer engineer. I later certified in the United States of America as a Novell certified netware engineer. And I practiced computer engineering for about 11 years before I got into full-time ministry, and then transitioned later into nutritional consulting. So I also earned another degree in theology as a theologian and a pastor, and then another one in nutritional consulting. I obtained a certification in nutritional consulting in the United States, in California, and I am board certified in holistic health practice. So that's my background, and you see all three stand where I'm coming from when I share some views on certain wellness matters. Now, this little disclaimer here, this free online seminar is not intended to provide medical advice or diagnosis. Excuse me for one moment, please. Yeah, this free online seminar is not intended to provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. It is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not meant to be a substitute for professional medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional for your health challenges. Meanwhile, if you choose to apply the tips that we shall be sharing in this presentation, it is your constitutional as well as human right. However, you must be willing to accept full responsibility for doing so. That is just a little disclaimer there. So let's go down to business today, the business of our immunity. Like I said, our immunity is the protection that God has given to us. Okay, the immune system is a part of a complex network that God has put in place in our bodies to help us fight disease. If you are healthy, it helps you to ward off disease. If you are sick, it helps you to overcome that disease. That is the immune system. We're going to be understanding it better. There are at least 12 different systems in the body, in the human body, depending on which textbook you are reading. At least 12 different systems. One of them is the immune system. Most of us are familiar with the digestive system. We're familiar with the cardiovascular system. We're familiar with the nervous system, the excretory system, the reproductive system, the musculoskeletal system. All those systems, many of us are already familiar with, even those of us who are not in the scientific or medical lines. But one system that many lay people don't fully understand or appreciate is the immune system. And incidentally, the immune system is a very unique system, unlike other bodily systems, in the sense that, you know, the way the body is structured is such that you have cells as the basic unit of life. Then similar cells usually aggregate together to form tissues. And then some tissues will collaborate together and form organs. Then there will be interconnection and interrelationship between certain organs coming together to form a system. Okay, so, but when it comes to the immune system, it is not just a group of physical structures, but it is a complex system of complex interactions that constitute the immune system. And it involves not only organs, it includes certain other structures and substances, which include our white blood cells, our bone marrow, our lymphatic systems and organs, and certain specialized cells that are found in various tissues and different parts of the body, such as our serum factors, blood factors present in the blood. All of these things come together to constitute what we call our immune system. Now, there are certain facts we need to get acquainted with to begin with. Number one is that pathogenic microorganisms, by that we mean disease-causing microorganisms. Microorganisms that cause disease, like bacteria, fungi, viruses, they are all in the environment. I mean, from time immemorial, before human beings were created, these microorganisms were already in existence on the planet, okay? Those are living things that when they successfully invade the human body and they are able to overpower our immune system, they can cause an infection and they can cause symptoms, they can cause disease, they can even kill. You know, bacteria, fungi, and viruses, those are microorganisms. Then we also have certain other substances, foreign substances, that may not necessarily be living things, such as toxins and chemicals and various other things that we are exposed to in the environment that can also cause disease. And because we live in a polluted environment in our world today, we are constantly being, bombarded by either these living organisms, microorganisms, or non-living substances like chemicals and carcinogens and toxins attempting to invade our body. All these things, living or non-living, trying to invade the body, they are called antigens. That's a word you need to get familiar with when you're dealing with immunology, antigens. Now, the term antigen is coined from antibody generators. Anything that when it enters your body, it makes your body to generate antibodies. That thing is called an antigen. It could be a living thing like bacteria, fungi, viruses. It could be a non-living thing like a chemical, a carcinogen or something like that, a toxin. Now, God has designed our bodies in such a way that there is a system in place called the immune system to defend us and protect us, from these antigens when they bombard our bodies or when they want to gain access into our bodies. Now, the combination of tissues and cells responsible for defending and protecting the body from these invaders, these intruders, these disease-causing agents called antigens, that system, the mechanism that God has put in place in our body, we may not be aware that it is there. We may not be aware that it is working, but God has put it there as a security apparatus inside our body, okay, right from the outside to the inside. Now, that system that God has put in place to defend us against these antigens is what we call the immune system. And therefore, in its simplest terms, the task of our immune system is to do two things. Simplified. Two simple things. The first one is to identify, and the second one is to neutralize. In other words, if an enemy is about to enter my body, let's assume that my body is a territory, and an enemy from the outside wants to gain access into my body, okay? If that enemy, whether it is bacteria or viruses or fungi or a chemical, once that thing enters into this territory, my immune system should be able to identify it as an intruder. That's the first function of my immune system. If my immune system loses the ability to identify an intruder, or it is no longer able to differentiate between cells in my body that are there as members of my body and an intruder, then the immune system has been compromised. It has been weakened, and that is a problem. That normally leads to what we call autoimmune disorders. We will get there soon. Now, after the immune system has identified an enemy, there is a second thing the immune system must be able to do. It must be able to neutralize the enemy. If the immune system is not potent enough to neutralize the enemy, then the enemy overruns the territory. The enemy takes over the body, runs down the body, destroys the body, and can kill the body. Then that means that the immune system is not potent. It is weak. So there are two things your immune system must never lose: the ability to identify an enemy and recognize that this is an enemy and target that enemy and hunt it down. And the second one is the ability to hunt it down. It's like a thief invading a house, a burglar invading a house. Now, you might be able to see the burglar and say, "Hey, Mr. Thief, I see you, I see you." That is one thing, that this is a thief. This is not a member of this family. The second thing is that recognizing the thief is not enough. You must have the wherewithal to be able to take on the thief and apprehend the thief and defeat the thief and hand over the thief to the police. If you don't have the tools to arrest the thief and, you know, apprehend the thief, then you are not there, you're not ready. Recognizing that the thief is in the house means nothing. So the immune system must not just be able to identify, it must be able to also neutralize. Now, so the immune system functions in two ways. First, it attempts to identify all types of microorganisms and foreign substances that are potentially dangerous to the body. And second, it swings into action to destroy these antigens once they have been identified. So the immune system is one of our major assets in life. It guarantees that we are well protected from ravaging and invading germs, toxins, and disease. So when our immune system is weakened, depressed, or compromised, then we are in serious soup, okra soup maybe. You know, I mentioned last week that when the person comes in contact with an infectious agent, such as a virus, for example, like COVID-19, the battle line is drawn between that person's immune system and the virus. And in approximately 2 weeks, we will know who wins the battle. Is it the virus that wins or the immune system that wins? 2 weeks is usually the length of time on the average to find out who is stronger. Is it the virus that is stronger than the immune system, or is it the immune system that is stronger than the virus? Now, the human body does not wear out per se. It is infected out or poisoned out or starved out. It's either the human body is infected by microorganisms, viruses, bacteria, fungi, and thereby devastated and ruined, or certain toxic chemicals invade the body to ruin the body, or the body is starved out. In other words, malnourished. The nutrients that the body needs to do well are not being supplied, so the body suffers from what we call a deficiency syndrome. And there are diseases that are caused by deficiency. They are called deficiency diseases. So it's either somebody is infected or poisoned or starved. That's how people get sick, and that's how people die on the natural. Now, we all have a duty not to indulge in anything that can depress, weaken, or compromise our immune system. What we should be doing instead is to constantly do everything to support and cooperate with our immune system by boosting it with whatever it is we can. Now, simply put again, the human body has a two-part immune system at the natural level. You know, 2 layers of our immunity. The first layer is the innate immunity, and the second layer is the adaptive immunity. Imagine that as you are seated there or standing wherever you are, that there is a ring around you, circled around you to protect you, to shield you. And then there is a second ring outside that inner ring. So you have 2 rings around you, maybe in form of a kind of drum placed over you to shield you, and a larger one placed on the outside to shield you. For anybody to reach you, they have to be able to break through the first layer, take it out, and then break through the second layer and take it out before they can reach you. Imagine it that way. We all have at least those 2 layers of immunity. The first layer, the outside one that any intruder will first of all come in contact with, is called the innate immunity. And I'm going to be discussing the things that make up the innate immunity. Then, if the innate immunity is breached, maybe the intruder is able to break through that outer layer and got inside the body. The intruder is still going to meet another apparatus inside, you know, another troop inside that will say, how did you get here? And then engage the intruder in a battle. Now, who wins that battle determines whether that person falls sick, develops symptoms, or not. So just understand the 2 layers. The innate immunity is the outer layer. The adaptive immunity is the inner layer. Now, the adaptive immunity, the inner layer, is essentially made up of our white blood cells and the different chemicals that our cells use to fight, like antibodies, okay? That's the adaptive immunity. Now, the innate immunity is the front line defense. That's the first defense that any germ, any virus, any bacterium, any fungus that wants to enter our body, the first line of defense that it is going to encounter is our innate immunity. And that innate immunity has been put in place by God from the time we were in our mother's womb until we came out, and then we were exposed to normal, everyday things that are happening around us. Okay? Now, the innate immunity includes antibodies generated, saliva, tears in our eyes, hairs in our nostrils, in our ears. All those things are filters to filter out, any intruder attempting to get into the body. If a small small amount of sand should enter anyone's eyes, you see the eyes will begin to, tears will begin to flow from the eyes. The reason tears are flowing is that the eyes are releasing chemicals in that liquid that is flowing from the eyes that we call tears. The tear glands begin to release water, something that looks like water, but it has chemicals inside to destroy any bacteria that may want to enter through the eyes. And the nostrils also has mucus, has hair, so that if any of these organisms want to go through there, it is able to filter it out or gum it down and not allow it to go inside. So that is the outer layer. The skin is also part of the outer layer, okay? Then acid in our stomach and different mucus and chemicals that we find in different locations. Most of us, we feel that in our throat, we have this mucus there that, it's like a gum. We have also the tonsils right there, trying to watch as Megad, as it were, as security men, watching to see who is going in and see if there's anything that should not go in, that it can be arrested. Our skin is also part of the outer layer, the innate immunity. That's why many of us, that we don't realize that 1 square centimeter of skin has over 100,000 bacteria on it. All of us on our skin. We have bacteria on our skin. Staphylococcus and all kinds of different bacteria on the skin every day. They are there. But they are not able to penetrate the skin and go inside because the skin is a protective layer. And that is why if there's injury anywhere on the skin, then a window has been opened for them to gain access. Then these germs can go through that broken part of the skin and infect that place, and through that enter the body. That's why when people sustain injury, you have to quickly, disinfect it and then plaster it to cover it so as to protect it from exposure. It's a door that has opened. You have to close that door so that the intruder does not gain access into the body, because the skin with about 15 different layers, our skin has about 15 different layers. And so a germ has to be able to break through all the layers. And then we have our sebaceous glands also on the skin that secretes, oil that contains some chemicals that also makes it impossible for these germs to actually go into the body. Now, the adaptive immunity, on the other hand, is the second line of defense, the inner layer. And that part of our immune system is only called into service when the defenses of the innate immunity have been breached beyond the capability of its response. Now, the outer layer is the first line of defense. Once the enemy breaks through the outer layer, then the inner layer engages the enemy to say, how did you get here? We're going to get rid of you. So when all the barriers of the innate immunity are penetrated by germs, viruses, bacteria, fungi, then the adaptive immune system will take over the work from there. Whenever an invader bypasses the innate immunity, the adaptive immunity mobilizes all the troops, all the forces within the body, to apprehend this enemy that has gained access into the body. Now, that inner layer of security apparatus, which we call the adaptive immunity, is essentially made up of white blood cells, particularly the lymphocytes. Now, and there are 3 categories of lymphocytes in our white blood cells that are usually activated to produce what we call a cellular response to this enemy that has been that has invaded the body. Now, this is a very simplistic illustration to help us to comprehend and appreciate how our immune system works. So imagine that the lymphocytes are in 3 categories or 3 battalions. Just imagine some military terms here. They are in 3 battalions. You have the helper cells, you have the killer cells, and you have the suppressor cells. All of these are white blood cells in our body. That's why when you go to the hospital for regular medical checkup, one of the things they normally check is your WBC. That is your white blood cells count. They want to do your white blood cells count. And then they also do the differential. The differential is to break it down into the different types of white blood cells. So they know whether you have enough of this and enough of that and enough of that. Okay, that's called the WBC differential when you are doing your blood test or your blood chemistry to check your health status, your immune status. So the helper cells are the patrol team among our white blood cells. They are always on surveillance. They are going around, they are doing what we call in the military language, that's what they call active surveillance. It's different from passive surveillance. Passive surveillance, for example, is when police mount checkpoints. They are on the same spots. You know, people are passing through their checkpoints and they are screening them before they go. That is passive. But active surveillance is that they are patrolling. They are not in one location. So the helper cells are those white blood cells that are always patrolling. As your blood is circulating around your body, the white blood cells inside the blood are also circulating in the patrol team. They are patrolling. They are looking for any foreigner, any intruder that has broken through the outer layer of your immune system and entered into the body in order to engage that enemy in a warfare. And that's why when people get infected with COVID-19, for example, the primary place that the virus wants to go and settle to start causing problems usually is in the lungs. And so once the immune system inside has detected that this virus has reached the lungs, it begins to mobilize all the soldiers from all over the body to congregate in the lungs to engage the virus there in the battle. Then the lungs becomes the battlefield. That's why the white blood cells begin to release what we call cytokines to be able to fight the virus. And then a storm builds up, which we call the cytokine storm, which leads to so many things. I explained that elaborately last Saturday. Okay, so imagine the helper cells as the patrol team, the surveillance team that are doing active surveillance. And then once the helper cells have identified an enemy, you know what they do? They will latch onto the enemy. It's like they handcuff the enemy and say, you are not going anywhere. And then they raise an alarm. The alarm that they raise is what is going to invite the killer cells. The killer cells, imagine them as the artillery group. They are the ones who will come with AK-47 and bazookas and all the weapons and begin to fight. You know, the enemy has been identified. The enemy has been arrested, and now the killer cells need to come and neutralize and kill off the enemy. Now, when it comes to certain infections, like malaria infection or even COVID-19 infection, any cell that the malaria parasite, Plasmodium, is attached to, the killer cells will destroy the parasite as well as the cell. Now, when it comes to malaria, the Plasmodium parasite will usually attach itself to red blood cells. And that red blood cell plus the parasite will be destroyed. And that's why when people have malaria and their immune system moves in to wipe out the Plasmodium as well as the red blood cells, you see that as the red blood cells begin to get destroyed and broken down, the person begins to urinate it out of the urine, and then the urine begins to change color into yellowish form when somebody has malaria. And then the person begins to feel tired and weak. Why? Because many red blood cells have been destroyed along with the parasite, malaria parasite. So the person has a low red blood cell count. And that means that the person will not be able to conduct enough oxygen around the body because it is red blood cells that carry oxygen around. So that is what makes malaria patients, those who are infected with malaria, to get very weak, fatigued, tired, and urinate, yellow urine and all of that. Now, when it comes to COVID-19 virus, the same thing happens. The white blood cell, the killer cells, will destroy the virus and the cell that is accommodating the virus. So you see, a number of cells in the lungs, therefore, are being destroyed. Where there's COVID-19 infection, the immune system goes there, say, oh, you cell, because you see, a virus does not have what it takes to multiply itself. A virus multiplies itself only when it enters into a cell and begins to use the resources of the cell to multiply itself. So there must be a host to the virus. The virus will have to be hosted by a cell in the lungs, as far as COVID-19 is concerned. So any cell that is playing host to the virus in the lungs, when the white blood cells, the killer cells get there, they will kill the virus and kill the cell that is hosting it. So you see that the cells of the lungs begins to get destroyed. And that leads to a condition that is known as fibrosis, okay? Part of the complications that begin to develop in COVID-19 infected individuals whose immune system are not able to really work well to address the matter. And so once the killer cells have been brought in and they have successfully neutralized the enemy, the intruder, then the next batch that comes in are the suppressor cells. What the suppressor cells do is that they actually halt the immune response and they stop antibody production. They say, no, the battle has been won. Soldiers, go back to the barracks. Stop shooting, stop shooting, stop shooting. The battle is over, the battle is over. Let normalcy return, let normalcy return. That is what the suppressor cells do. Now, if the suppressor cells refuse to do their job, what it means is that the battle will continue to rage until that person is destroyed and dies. So you see, all of them have important roles to play. The helper cells, the patrol team, they are the ones who will raise an alarm once an enemy has been spotted. The killer cells are the ones that will neutralize and wipe out the enemy. And the suppressor cells are the ones that make everything to return to normal again. So it's division of labor. That's how the adaptive immune system works, in summary, in a very simplified format. Now, there's something else that also collaborates with the immune system. Another system in the body that collaborates with the immune system is called the lymphatic system. I'll just say one or two things about the lymphatic system. Now, all the systems in our body work harmoniously and synergistically to produce good health. Every system in the body, whether it is the digestive system, excretory system, nervous system, cardiovascular system, immune system, all of them, they collaborate. They work in tandem, in cooperation, synergistically to produce good health. However, the lymphatic system is particularly important to the work of the immune system because it is probably one of the most, one of the strongest allies of the immune system in the body. Of course, the circulatory system is also part and parcel of those giving support to the immune system, but particularly the lymphatic system. And so what makes up the lymphatic system? These are the different tissues, glands, and organs in the body that are called the lymphoid organs. These are the things that make up what we call the lymphatic system. The bone marrow, the thymus, the lymphatic vessels. Now, the lymphatic vessels are like blood vessels, but instead of carrying blood, they carry lymph. Lymph is a whitish, milky substance flowing through certain vessels. Those vessels are called the lymphatic vessels, okay? Some of us, when we sweat, we see that the sweat coming from the armpit is a little bit milky. That's more of lymph that is coming out there, accompanying waste product out of the system. Now we have two circulatory systems in our bodies. One is the blood circulatory system, and the other one is the lymphatic, circulatory system. For the blood circulatory system, we have the heart as the pump that is pumping, poo, ba, poo, ba, poo, ba, pumping blood all around. So the heart is pumping, whether we are awake or we are asleep, whether we are walking or we are seated, the heart is pumping blood and pumping blood. But not so with the lymphatic circulatory system. There is no pumping machine that is pumping lymph around the body. Our lymph fluid moves through the lymphatic vessels only when we move, when we exercise. That's why sedentary living is one of those things that weaken immunity. If you are not active, physically active, you don't exercise, you don't move your body, then your lymph will be sluggish. Your lymphatic system will be sluggish. And because the lymphatic system plays a role in supporting the immune system, you see how important you need to keep your lymph moving through your lymphatic vessels. Then we have the lymph nodes. Now, if you see this image, you can see all the spots that looks like small, tiny balls all around the body. Those are the lymph nodes scattered all over the body. They're all over from the head to the neck to every part of our body. We have lymph nodes, particularly under our armpit, a lot of lymph nodes there. In our groin area, a lot of lymph nodes there. Even in our GI tract, a lot of lymph nodes there. Now, imagine the lymph nodes as barracks where soldiers stay until they are needed. And then they are mobilized to come out of their barracks to come and do their job. Okay, so the lymph nodes are small barracks where these white blood cells and these soldiers, where they stay until they are called upon to come and fight. And then we have the spleen, we have the appendix, we have the adenoid glands and the tonsils. These are all part of the lymphoid organs that constitute the immune system. Now let's look at how cleanliness on the inside relates to our immune strength. Now, the lymphoid organs perform two main functions in the body, very important roles. The first one is they help to detoxify. And the second one is that they aid the function of the immune system. Because the cleaner our internal environment is, the stronger our immune system will be. So the lymphatic system is part of the cleansing system alongside with the excretory system to help rid the body of waste products and toxins that can make the internal environment no longer conducive for the function of our immune system. Now, when a person's immunity is weak, there are certain signs you begin to see in that person. The first sign is fatigue, and then listlessness, then repeated infections. You know, I've seen people who have come down with malaria, then they treated the malaria, and 2 weeks later, they have a recurrence of the malaria. And some people treat malaria almost on a monthly basis. And that is a sign that the immune system of that person is weak. Because the malaria parasite is very intelligent. If your immunity is strong, the parasite will not rear its ugly head. It may be in your body, it will hide in the liver. It will be watching for when your immune system is low. The moment it senses that your immune system is low, then it comes out and begins to attack all your red blood cells, and then you come down with malaria. So one secret of making sure you don't get malaria attacks all the time is to strengthen your immune system. Strengthen your immune system. That's one of the strategies among many others when it comes to malaria. So repeated infection is a sign of a weakened immunity. Another sign of a weak immunity is inflammation in the body, allergic reactions, when wounds don't heal quickly and they're very slow in healing, chronic diarrhea, overgrowth of some normally present organisms. We have some microorganisms in our body, bacteria in our body, okay? We have both friendly bacteria and disease-causing germs in our body. In fact, it is said that the number of bacteria that we harbor in our body, their population is more than the number of cells in our body, the human cells. The human body has approximately 35 to 100 trillion cells in the body. You know, an adult grown man, we have close to 100 trillion cells in your body. Now, maybe a baby will have approximately 30, 35 trillion, not billion now, trillion cells in our body. So if we have between 35 and 100 trillion cells in our body, and yet the number of bacteria inhabiting our body is more than that, then you can have an idea of this, we call them normally present organisms. They are present because some of them live with us in a symbiotic relationship. What that means is that they benefit us and we benefit them, okay? How do we benefit them? How do they benefit us? Now, let's take certain bacteria, for example, they are called friendly bacteria. They feast on the waste product of our food in our digestive tract. When you eat something, protein, carbohydrates, and whatever, you digest it, you take what you want. The waste product, you want to push it out. It goes into your colon. While it is there waiting for the colon to be full before you go and poo-poo it out, there are certain bacteria that will continue to eat, you know, that waste product. They feast on it. That's their own food. So you are feeding them. Now, they also generate waste products after they have feasted on your own waste product. And the waste product they generate, incidentally, is beneficial for you because some of them will generate vitamin K as part of the things they produce as they are feasting on our waste. Some of them will generate vitamin B12. So they are feasting on your waste, you are feeding them, and then they are producing vitamins for you to compensate you, to say, thank you for providing this food for us. So you get a lot of B12, a lot of K2 in your digestive tract when you have friendly bacteria. Now, scientists tell us that the appropriate balance of these normally present organisms in our body is approximately 80 to 20%. In other words, the total bacteria in your body, about 80% of them should be friendly bacteria, not harmful. And not more than 20% of the bacteria in your body should be harmful bacteria. If you have more than 20% as harmful bacteria and less than 80% as friendly bacteria, that is an imbalance. And the medical language for that is called dysbiosis. That person is said to have dysbiosis. In other words, you have less than the amount of good bacteria you need, and you have more than the amount of bad bacteria you can cope with. That is a condition of dysbiosis. And once the immune system is weak, then dysbiosis will develop because the bad bacteria become virulent. They start taking over the territory because they are fighting for space. They also want to run over and take over everywhere. And most of the things that we do, or some of the things we do that cause dysbiosis, include long use of antibiotics. Many of us just abuse antibiotics all the time. When you take antibiotics, guess what? Antibiotics cannot discriminate between good bacteria and bad bacteria. It will wipe all of them out, all of them. Now, that means there is vacancy. And once there is vacancy, what happens is that, you know, the only ones that remain are the ones that are resistant to that particular antibiotic. So since you couldn't wipe those ones out, and they are bad guys, and now there's vacancy because we have wiped out the good ones as well, they start spreading to take over the available space. And bad bacteria usually don't need invitation. If you are careless with your eating, your food preparation, you eat fruits and vegetables that are not properly washed or cleaned, those bad bacteria can easily come back and take over the whole place. But for you to get good bacteria back into your system, you have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate. This is the role of probiotics or fermented food. When you take fermented food, you are bringing good bacteria back into your body. When yogurt is made, for example, they use what we call active culture. That active culture is made up of friendly bacteria. It is that bacteria that will ferment the milk that you are trying to turn into yogurt. So when you are taking that yogurt, then you are taking the active culture, the friendly bacteria, back into your system, and that will increase the population of the good guys as opposed to the bad guys. If you can achieve 80% good guys, not more than 20% bad guys, you are safe. The bad guys can never overrun you because the friendly bacteria will collaborate with your immune system to keep the bad guys in check and under control. So, but when a person's immunity is weak, then there is an overgrowth of those bad guys, okay? Like Candida albicans, for example, Staphylococcus, for example, and many, many other such microorganisms. And also when immunity is weak, it can develop into chronic diseases. Cancer, for example, is a disease of a weakened immunity. We all develop cancer cells in our bodies every day, every one of us. But those cancer cells, once the DNA of a cell is damaged by a carcinogen, either by a toxin or by a free radical or by a virus or by anything, any of those things that can cause damage into cells are called carcinogens. A carcinogen is a cancer-causing agent, okay? Once a cell has been damaged and converted to a cancer cell or an aberrant cell, okay, what happens is that the immune system, there's a mechanism in the body that will seek to repair that damaged cell and restore it again to normal function. If that process is successful, then the damaged cell is repaired and reinstated. But if that process is not successful, then the damaged cell is destroyed and taken out of the way and mopped out before it begins to cause problems in the body. But you see, if the rate at which your immune system is repairing or destroying aberrant cells is too slow because your immune system is weak, then some of the aberrant cells will escape repair and escape destruction and then begin to replicate and form a tumor. And that's how cancer develops. So you can see that cancer is a disease of a weakened immune system, a toxic environment, you know, and all the things in the environment that makes it conducive to develop, like an imbalanced pH and like a low oxygen level in the body, high acidity in the body, and all of those things, they contribute to that. Now, all the disorders that affect our immune system can be categorized into three principal ones. We have autoimmune diseases, we have immunodeficiency, and we have other immune disorders that are put together under one category. And so what are autoimmune diseases? Autoimmune diseases happen when the immune system has lost its ability to differentiate between a friend and a foe. You see, I said we have approximately 100 trillion cells in our body. Each one is a citizen of this body, and each one has a national ID card. And the immune system should be able to recognize that this is a citizen of this country. Now, when a bacterium or a virus enters the body, that virus does not have an ID card. So the immune system should be able to know that this is an illegal alien that is entering the body. But when the immune system has lost its ability to know who is a citizen and who is not a citizen, there are chances that the immune system can mistake a citizen for an enemy and begin to fire, gunshots at a citizen, thinking that it is fighting an enemy. When that begins to happen, then the immune system begins to attack the body itself. Anytime the immune system is attacking any part of the body, that is called an autoimmune disorder. And that leads to autoimmune diseases. And some examples of autoimmune disorders are the ones listed on the screen here. We have type 1 diabetes. In that case, the immune system mistakes the pancreas, the cells. There are specialized cells in the pancreas that are called the islet of Langerhans, or beta cells, beta cells. Those are the specialized cells that produce, the hormone that helps to manage our sugar. Okay? So when those cells are affected, the cells produce insulin. Insulin is the gatekeeper, that opens the cell to allow sugar to go into the cell. That's the job of insulin. Now, the pancreas has a department that produces insulin. It has another department that produces glucagon, and it has another department that produces digestive enzymes. It has another department that produces, bicarbonate of soda. All kinds of different things are produced in the pancreas, which is a gland in the body. So the department that produces insulin is called the islet of Langerhans, and it is composed of specialized cells that are referred to as beta cells. Now, when the immune system mistakes those beta cells for enemies and begins to attack them and destroy them, it's like the entire factory in the pancreas that produces insulin is destroyed by the immune system mistakenly, because the immune system mistook it for enemies. So that person is no longer able to produce insulin. That person then develops an autoimmune disorder, which is called type 1 diabetes. That is different from type 2 diabetes. In type 2 diabetes, is not an autoimmune disorder. It simply is that either the pancreas is not producing enough insulin, or the insulin being produced, the cells that need the insulin, that should utilize the insulin, are resistant to the insulin. Okay, those two conditions is what leads to type 2 diabetes. But for type 1, it is the factory that produces insulin that has been destroyed. And who destroyed it? The immune system. Why did the immune system destroy it? Because it mistook it for an enemy and began to attack it. Then there is also a small gland that's sitting on top of our kidneys that helps us to fight, to deal with stressful conditions. That small gland on top of the kidney, on both of the kidneys, they are called the adrenal glands. They are the ones that secrete the hormones that help us to fight stress, like adrenaline, like cortisol. They also help in regulating our blood pressure, okay? Now, when those glands are mistaken for enemies and the immune system begins to attack them, then the person develops what is known as Addison's disease. Then, when the immune system mistakes the liver as an enemy and begins to attack the liver and cause inflammation in the liver, that is called chronic active hepatitis. That is different from viral hepatitis. Now, viral hepatitis is when a virus is what is causing the inflammation of the liver. That's why you have hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis D, and so on and so forth. But this one, there's no virus involved. It is the immune system that is attacking the liver and causing it to inflame. And that is called chronic active hepatitis, another example of an autoimmune disorder. Then we have Graves' disease, where the immune system begins to attack the thyroid gland, mistaking it for an enemy. That leads to Graves' disease. Rheumatoid arthritis is when the immune system begins to attack the joints and the connective tissues, okay, creating inflammation and pain. That is rheumatoid arthritis. It is different from the other type of arthritis that is osteoarthritis or degenerative arthritis. Of course, there are over 100 different types of arthritis, but probably the most common, the two most common are rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. Then vitiligo is when the immune system begins to attack the cells in the skin that produces pigment, that produces the color of our skin, melanin. Those cells that produce the color of our skin, when the immune system begins to attack those cells and destroy them, then they are no longer able to produce pigmentation, and that place begins to turn white. So you see some people around their mouth, around their nose, around their ears, around their the fingers and different parts of the body will just begin to turn white, as if hot water poured on them. Okay, that is vitiligo. It's an autoimmune disorder. Then lupus is a generalized kind of attack where the immune system is attacking the lungs, attacking the liver. It could attack the skin, it could attack different places. That's called lupus erythematosus. Okay, then when the immune system is attacking your red blood cells, that is called hemolytic anemia. All right, that is one category of immune disorder where the immune system cleans the body. The second category of immune disorder is immunodeficiency. In immunodeficiency, the immune system itself comes under heavy attack and it is damaged or seriously suppressed. And that's what happens when a person is infected with a virus such as HIV infection, for example. The HIV virus targets the immune system and begins to weaken it, to wreck it, because the immune system is the military apparatus in the body, and the virus does not want the military apparatus to be strong. So it goes for it to hunt it down. So whereas in autoimmune disorder, the immune system is overactive, in immunodeficiency, the opposite is the case. The immune system is weakened and becomes deficient. And the damage to the immune system to weaken it could be due to a genetic problem that the person has. It could be due to infections such as HIV. It could be due to abuses such as use of hard drugs like cocaine, heroin, and the rest of them. Or it could be as a result of nutritional deficiencies. These are the things that can weaken the immune system and make the immune system impotent, such that it is not able to fight. It is not able to do its job. And then you begin to see what we call opportunistic infections, because now they see that the body has been wrecked. Now they can go in and invade and wreak a havoc. Then we have a third category of immune disorders. And that is, I put them together and call them other immune disorders. Allergic reaction, for example, in my view, is a kind of immune disorder. Because in that sense, the body no longer recognizes certain things that are normal food. The body no longer recognizes it again as food and begins to react to it. That's called food allergy. A situation where the individual reacts to an ingested food as though it were a toxin. There are people who cannot eat granite, for example, they will pass out. There are people who cannot eat, shell seafood like crayfish or shrimps or crabs and things like that. I mean, they will develop serious allergic reaction. Their lips will swell, their eyes will swell and can even close. They can have their lungs swell inside and they can begin to have difficulty in breathing. They can go into shock. They can even die because they are allergic to those food items. The same food that other people will eat and relish and nothing will happen, but that person's immune system does not understand that that is food, so it begins to fight it. Food allergies normally happen in most people when they develop what we call a leaky gut syndrome, where the digestive tract begins to leak, as it were, and incompletely digested food that should not be able to pass through the wall of the digestive tract is able to pass through it into the bloodstream. And the white blood cells don't understand those incompletely digested food, so they begin to build antibodies and launch an attack. So you have a lot of histamines and a lot of different antibodies arising, causing all kinds of symptoms. Okay? And then there are other allergic reactions to environmental allergens, not necessarily food alone. A weakened immune system can lead to all kinds of problems, infections, cancer, and so on and so forth. So our gut, that is our intestines, beginning from the stomach to the small intestine to the large intestine, all of that is packed with some 60 to 70% of our body's immune cells. All the immune cells in our bodies, 60 to 70% of them are actually in our gut. And that is why your digestive health is very critical to your immune strength. The GI tract functions as the immune system's control tower, whereas it is also serving as your digestive organ to help you break down your food and extract the nutrients from your food. And this is why probiotics supports immunity. You know, when you have a lot of probiotics and your digestive health is good, you clean out, you do colon cleansing, you clean out all the debris, all the waste product, and then you populate, you know, it's like inoculating, as it were, with friendly bacteria, then you are actually supporting your immune system in that regard. How do we weaken our immune system? Many people wreck their immune system this way. Number one, by malnourishing our bodies. When you eat foodless foods and you don't consume fresh fruits, raw vegetables, you don't eat a balanced diet made up of carbohydrates, proteins, fats and oil, a lot of fiber, a lot of minerals, vitamins, different phytochemicals, all of those things. When you don't eat properly and nourish your body well, you end up wrecking your immune system. That's one way that most people weaken their immune system. The second one is when we stress ourselves, our immunity becomes weak. When you are a workaholic, you don't sleep enough, you stress yourself, you walk and walk and walk and walk and walk, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And that Jack could be your immune system. All work and no play makes your immune system a dull boy. So you need to learn how to manage your stress. The third thing we do to wreck our immune system is when we are sleep deprived and we don't rest enough. The fourth one is when we don't exercise regularly. It's not those one-off things when you just go to the gym for 1 month and then for the next 11 months, we don't see you again. It's not about going to the gym anyway. You can exercise at home. You can exercise in your community, in your neighborhood. You can take a brisk walk, okay? You can climb your stairs up and down. You can park your car at the parking lot far away to where you're going and take a trek from there to the supermarket, or instead of taking the elevator in your office, you can decide to take the stairs. These are all different ways that you can introduce some activity, physical activity into your body. When you don't do that and you are sedentary, then you wreck your immune system. Another way we weaken our immune system is when we allow toxic emotions, anger, worry, anxiety, bitterness, fear, depression, rage. You know, that's why when people listen to all the news about COVID-19, oh, 35 people have tested positive today. 77 people have tested positive today. 120 have tested positive. Hey, this number of people has died. Oh, that person has died. You know what that will generate? It will generate fear. It will generate anxiety. It generates worry. And once those things are elicited in your body, it begins to destroy your immune system. Because once you're afraid and anxious, your body begins to release a lot of adrenaline and a lot of cortisol. And when these things flow continuously unabated, they wreak havoc to the immune system. But when you get happy and you are filled with joy and you are relaxed and at peace with yourself, then your body releases endorphins. Those endorphins actually help to strengthen the immune system. So avoid toxic emotions if you don't want to wreck your immunity. We also weaken our immune system when we abuse our bodies with immune system suppressants. And what are immune system suppressants? Number one on my list is refined sugar. Those who drink, soft drinks with several cubes of sugar in those soft drinks, 8 to 11 cubes of sugar. Those who eat refined sugar, a lot of refined sugar, you are actually wrecking your immune system. Now, a little experiment will confirm that to you. If you have access to a dark field microscope, you can take a sample of your blood, just prick your finger and take a drop of blood on the slide. Prepare the slide, put it under your dark field microscope and view your blood cells. You will see the red blood cells, you will see the white blood cells, and if there are microorganisms like bacteria and other things, you will see them all around in your blood. It's called live blood analysis. When you do live blood analysis, first thing in the morning, for example, and then drink a bottle of soft drinks or take several cubes of sugar. After 30 minutes to 1 hour of taking that soft drinks or the sugar, take another sample of your blood and prepare a slide, view it under the dark field microscope. you'll be surprised what happens when you compare the first and the second. For your first sample, before you took the soft drink or sugar, when you view the live blood analysis on your screen under the microscope, you will see the white blood cells are on surveillance. They are active. They are moving like Pac-Man. And when you see any bacterium anywhere, you will see all the white blood cells will begin to migrate towards that bacterium. They want to go there and engulf it and eat it up and destroy it. That's how your immune system works. But by the time you take sugar and soft drinks into your blood and your blood is saturated with sugar, what happens is that all the white blood cells, they will freeze. They will stop moving. They won't move again. And once your white blood cells are frozen, your immune system is frozen. And any bacterium, any virus, any fungus that is there, we have a field day because there is no more threat to them anymore. The soldiers have gone to sleep. And that explains why people who have diabetes, who don't bring their blood sugar under control, often are prone to infections, particularly fungal infections. They have infections, particularly in their private parts. They have, urinary tract infections. They have skin infections because the excess sugar circulating around their body actually freezes their white blood cells and technically freezes their immune system. So we weaken our immune system by abusing our body with these immune suppressants, such as refined sugar, trans fats, hard drugs. When you eat too much cooked food, you don't eat raw food at all, that can also weaken your immune system. So how do you then boost your immune system? Of course, since you know what weakens it, what you do is to avoid doing those things that weaken it and then do things that strengthen your immune system. So to boost your immune system, what do? Number one, eat a balanced diet. Make sure you have protein, make sure you have carbohydrate, make sure you have fats and oil, you have vitamins, you have minerals, a balanced diet, okay? Fresh fruits, juices, smoothies, nut milk, and so on and so forth. Then incorporate superfoods and a lot of raw food into your diet. At least 50% of your food should be eaten raw in the form of fruits, salads, juices, smoothies, nut milk, and so on. Those are called superfood. What is a superfood? A superfood is any kind of food that is nutrient dense. The nutrient density is very high. It's very rich in nutrients. That's a superfood. Okay. Then eliminate or minimize things that weaken immune system, such as sugar. Now, I have stopped taking sugar right now for donkey years. I stopped taking soft drinks 20 years ago. By October 2020, this is July 2020 now, 3 months from now, by October 2020, it will be exactly 20 years that I took the last bottle of soft drink. I took it last October 2000. That was the last time I tasted soft drinks. Since then, I have stopped taking soft drinks. It was one of the strategies I deployed to help me recover from the disease that almost killed me. And then detoxify your body regularly. Because when your body is toxic, loaded with waste products, it will weaken your immunity. But when your inside is clean, you can do liver cleanse, kidney cleanse, lymphatic drainage, colonic irrigation, hydrotherapy, all of these things. When your internal environment is clean, your immune system will be bolstered. Another way to boost your immune system is to do what I call sensible sunshine exposure. You spend time under the sun every day to help your body produce enough vitamin D, and that vitamin D will then boost your immune system. For those of us who are people of color, we can spend 1 hour to 2 hours before 11 a.m., before it gets really too hot, those of us in the tropics. But if you live in the temperate region, sometimes even 1 p.m., 2 p.m. is not too hot, okay? Wherever you live on the globe, on the planet, just look for the appropriate time. You see, there are several types of energies that emanate from the sun. Two important ones are what we call luminous energy and thermal energy. Luminous energy is light. Thermal energy is heat, okay? And in O-level physics, we will recall that light travels faster than heat through the same medium, okay? So when light and heat start traveling from the sun to the earth, when it is morning, light arrives first before heat arrives. In my opinion, the best time to expose yourself to the sun is when light has arrived, but heat has not yet arrived. Of course, a little bit of heat is good, warmth rather is good, but when it becomes really scorchingly hot, particularly in West Africa where I live, you don't want to stay under the sun during that period because you can get dehydrated, you can get heat stroke, so you want to be careful with that. Okay, I did an extensive teaching on that several years ago on TV, and I'm going to repeat that on Monday, this coming Monday, July 5, 48 hours from now. I'd like you to join me on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook on Expose at 8 p.m. Nigerian time. And I'll be, this coming Monday, I'll be dwelling on the benefits of sunshine. So I'll leave it for today. It's one of the things that will boost your immune system. Now, another way to boost your immune system is to manage your stress and sleep well. You need to sleep 6 to 8 hours every day, depending on your state of health, depending on your particular makeup. So find time to sleep. Very, very key to boosting immunity, okay? Sleep well, manage your stress. I have written a book, How to Regain and Retain Your Health, and chapter 11 or so of that book dwells on how to manage your stress. And I give 21 tips on how to manage your stress. To boost your immunity, drink enough water. Don't get dehydrated. Very, very important. Exercise moderately, regularly. I have explained how exercise ties into boosting our immune system. Then maintain personal hygiene and environmental sanitation, because the cleaner your environment, the less battles your immune system will need to fight. Because if you think you have a strong immunity, and so you are just carefree and careless, and you're exposing yourself every day to germs, one day your immune system will fight and fight and fight and fight and be worn out completely and wear out and become tired, and it will no longer be able to fight. So you want to choose your fights. Don't just engage in all fights. And hygiene, environmental sanitation, cleanliness, is part of the strategy to preserve the energy of your immune system so you don't waste it unnecessarily. Then laughter therapy is another way to boost immunity. I've said that when you're happy and when you laugh, you actually, release chemicals called endorphins, and they help to bolster your immune system. And then you can also use immune boosting supplements if you have the resources to buy them. They can help you to boost your immunity. And these supplements include, but are not limited to the following. Beta-glucan. Beta-glucan is made from yeast, okay? And it helps to modulate immunity. If it is overactive, it can downregulate it. If it is underactive, it can upregulate it. It helps in immune modulation. Essiac tea is a combination of several herbs by a particular nurse in Canada many, many years ago, was the one who popularized Essiac tea. And they used to use it to strengthen the immune system of cancer patients and various other patients in those days in Canada. The name of the nurse is Casey, spelled C-A-I-S-S-E. So she just spelled her name in reverse to name the tea. And that's why it's called Essiac. If you spell it from the end to the beginning, that is C-A-I-S-S-E. That was her name, Nurse Casey. And then she reversed the spelling of her name and called it Essiac. So that particular tea that has a few herbs in them is called Essiac tea. It's still available till today. Some people have it in loose leaves, and you can brew it and drink it as tea. Some have been extracted in tincture in liquid form that you can drink. Some of them are available in capsule. If you go on Amazon.com and just type in Essiac tea, you will see it in different forms. That's another immune booster. Then there is herbal aloe force, which is aloe vera juice that has Essiac tea incorporated into it. So you have two benefits. You have the benefit of Essiac tea, and you have the benefit of aloe vera. The two of them fused together is called herbal aloe force. That's another immune booster. It also has the added benefit of healing the digestive tract of gastritis, peptic ulcer, and all of those things, inflammation in the digestive tract, to help to make your digestive system, your gut, very healthy, because your gut plays a role in your immunity. Aloe arborescens is another type of aloe vera. In fact, it is considered the most potent aloe vera plant. The other one that is close to it is called Aloe barbadensis. But Aloe arborescens is one of the most potent aloe vera plant that has very good medicinal properties. Then Echinacea is another kind of herb that boosts immunity. Golden seal, garlic, medicinal mushrooms like reishi, otherwise known as Ganoderma. Then maitake, shiitake, cordyceps, and so on. Zinc is a mineral that also boosts immunity. There are so many immune boosting substances that you don't have to take all of them. You can just make your selection depending on what is available and what is affordable. Okay, so that is how to boost immunity. That's how far we go today. I say a big thank you for your time. Before I sign off and allow us to ask questions, let me say to you that our institute, the RAFA Institute of Healthy Living, runs some short-term courses. We used to do them in-house, where people come in for 5 days, very intensive. We start from 9 a.m. till about 6 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday. We let people stay with us, and then maybe they stay in nearby hotels or they come from the homes of their family or friends, and we give them their meals throughout the week. We don't allow them to eat anything. We give them the food to show them how to eat, how to prepare their food, cooked food, raw food, salads, smoothies, nut milk, raw nuts and all of that. And the fee, typically I think it's around 55 or 57,500 for that 1 week. But now, because of COVID-19 and the social distancing that is in place, we have moved it to the online platform right now. So you don't have to come to Lagos, Nigeria. We have some people who came in from Cameroon to Nigeria. Some people flew in from the United Kingdom to Nigeria. People have come from different states all over Nigeria to attend. But now it is available globally online. And the first online edition is happening this month from June 15 to June 18. And we have chosen Wednesday to Saturday, 4 days. We'll be doing them in the evening time so that it won't affect your work. If you go to work in this part of the world, those of us who are in this time zone, but those who are in other time zones, it depends on what it falls into where you are. But we have selected a time that we feel that most people should be able to join with us, no matter the time zone where they are. In West Africa, in the Nigerian time, which is currently, I think same thing with GMT right now, sometimes GMT +1, it is going to be from 7 p.m. in the evening till 11 p.m., 4 hours on Wednesday, 4 hours on Thursday, 4 hours on Friday. Then on Saturday, we have 2 sessions of 4 hours each. We have 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., which is the first 4-hour session. And then we have 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., which is the second 4-hour session. And that makes it 5 different segments, 4 hours each. And we cover the entire syllabus. Because you are not going to be on ground and we are not going to be giving you food, I wish that the technology could support it. We will have sent you e-food so that you will eat our food, but we know that is not possible. So because the food component is no longer there, the fee has been slashed, to make it very, very affordable for everybody. Instead of 57,500 naira, it is now going for just 25,000 naira for those who pay before July 10, on or before July 10. If you pay between July 11 and July 15, when it is commencing, you'll be paying 30,000 naira. For dollars, United States dollars, early birds is $60 US, and after July 10, it will be $75 US. You can go to our website, www.rafainstitute.org. Rafa is spelled R-A-P-H-A, rafainstitute.org. You find all the schedule and all the details there. The registration form is there. The bank details for dollar account, for naira account, they're all there. You will be able to join us if you register. The link for you to register has also been posted. If you go to the chats right now, the chat room right now, you will see the link has been posted there. You can copy that link, or you can just click on it and you can go ahead and register. Now, we are still working on, there are some people who have done module 1 and they are wondering when will module 2 and module 3 happen. We are working very seriously in getting those ones also formatted for the online platform so we can do them online. But for module 2, that is a little bit challenging in the sense that there are a lot of hands-on, a lot of practicals that we do. And we are looking at the best way to make sure that those who do it online don't miss out on the experiences from the practical sessions. Once we are able to get that sorted, we will announce. But for now, we are only doing module 1 online. That is the one we are ready for. Hopefully in the next 1-2 months, we will be ready for modules 2 and 3, and hopefully module 4, because there are 4 modules at the end of the day. So these are the pieces of information. And the second most important information for today is that every Monday at 8 p.m. Nigerian time, you can join me either on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram for a 30 minutes to maximum 1 hour session called Expose with Tony Akinyemi. I'll be sharing just 30 minutes, very brief, short and sharp, on simple nuggets, simple secrets on how to continue to maintain your health. And I have a long list of guests that I'll be bringing on Expose from within Nigeria, from outside Nigeria, okay, from Canada, from USA, from United Kingdom, from different parts of the world, okay, who will be sharing their expertise, professors, medical doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, all kinds of experts in different walks of life. We'll be bringing them to deal with different aspects of our lives, the spiritual, our health, our finances, our marriages, our family, balance in every area, okay? There are 5 areas that we always focus on. We were to have a 5F conference in the month of May, that COVID-19 prevented it from happening. That's why we'll be bringing all the 5 dimensions. We'll be talking about your faith. That is the first one. Then we'll be talking about your family. That's the second one. We'll be talking about your fitness. That's your health. That's the third one. And then the fourth one, we're talking about your finances. And then your business, your career, your money. And then finally, we'll be talking about your future. After this life, what next? Because there is life after life. That's the 5F that we'll be covering regularly on Expose. Just make it a date every Monday. Give us 30 minutes to 45 minutes of your time every Monday, 8 p.m. Nigerian time on all the channels, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can like us on Facebook. You can, follow us on Instagram, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube. And make sure you also press the YouTube notification bell, that button, just red bell there, the notification button. Press it, and anytime we are live, your phone or your device will alert you to let you know we are live. So you can join us so you don't get to miss any episode. Again, I want to appreciate you for your time. I think I did well with time today. I'm supposed to do 7 to 8:30, and right now it is 8:24 p.m. Nigerian time. I have done 1 hour, 24 minutes instead of 1 hour, 30 minutes. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you as always. You've been stellar with the presentation. There are a few questions that have come in. Now, there are several announcements that Reverend has made with regards to the course that is coming up and all that, because that is where you get to have the full information. Some of the questions that came in, we'll probably have to find a way to let him address it some other time. This whole program is supposed to be 1.5 hours. We can't spend too long answering all the questions. There's a list of questions I have in front of me now is already almost like 18 different questions. Yes, and questions are still coming in. Now, there are some questions that he has answered, and it is clear. Questions around, because I was taking notes as some of those questions were coming in. I was even private chatting some of the people that were asking the questions that, yes, this is your question. Pay attention now. He's answering it now. Questions around, sir, you talked about strengthening our immune system so we don't get malaria. How can it be strengthened against malaria since we know that mosquito bite causes malaria? That one, it's not something I want him to go into now because we have a billion questions. Why? Because he's taking time to talk about how to strengthen our immunity. And it is not about focus on malaria. Healthy living is never a focus majorly on a particular disease as much as to take care of your body. Medical science takes time to focus on the disease more. I asked my own wife, who is a medical person, the question that why is it that there is CDC, all these people, and what everybody talks about is the things that you need to do physically, wash your hands and all that. Why is nobody saying basic things that you need to do outside of your outside that you can use to take care of your inside against the disease? The answer she gave me is that we don't have anything to do with you if you don't have disease. So it is disease that we're focused on, So, and I think Reverend has been able to go mention some of that. Now, let me go to some of these questions, and there are some that might join so that he answers them together. Someone asked if yogurt is good bacteria, why does it cause bloating, constipation, and farting? But then another person asked another question on yogurt, that what other probiotics can we take that is natural outside of taking yogurt if you have problem with dairy? So I'll let Reverend go ahead and answer that.
Okay, thank you very much for those fantastic questions. I particularly like the questions on dairy and yogurt and what have you. Now, if you have listened to some of my previous presentations, videos and teachings and write-ups, you probably will have known that I am not a fan of cow milk for many reasons. In fact, I've done a DVD or an audio CD on the dangers of cow milk as it is currently constituted in the world. Okay, there are 14 different identifiable challenges that a person can face with cow milk. So when I talk about yogurt, I probably didn't clarify very well. You can make yogurt not only from cow milk, you can make yogurt from many other types of milk, from goat milk, from tiger nut milk, from coconut milk, from almond milk, and so on and so forth. So people make yogurt from plant-derived milk made from nuts, such as coconut, such as almond, and what have you, or cashew nut. So that is that clarification. Now, people have issues with dairy, particularly cow milk, for various reasons. Some have what we call lactose intolerance. Some other people are allergic to some of the substances that get packaged along with cow milk, because cow milk has, lactose. And as we grow up, the moment a child reaches about the age of 1.5 to age 4, that child's lactase production begins to decline. In other words, the enzyme that the body uses to break down lactose, the body no longer produces it. Or if it produces it at all, very, very low. So which means that we don't have the capacity to break down lactose, which is a disaccharide, into 2 monosaccharides, which is glucose and galactose, combined together to form lactose. So when we can break it down, then that can cause some fermentation, and that can cause some bloating, that can cause some whatever. Then sulfur in the food can also cause that bloating. So if you are allergic to cow milk, then you can go for other forms of milk, not necessarily cow milk, to make your yogurt, and that would be great. Then yogurt is not the only fermented food out there anyway. We have kefir, we have, sauerkraut. You can actually ferment cabbage in salt water in a glass bottle, and that's sauerkraut. And that is also fermented food, which is also high in probiotics. Now, in the part of the world where I live, we take some fermented corn products, okay? We call it pap. That's the closest English word we could find for it. But in our local language, for those who understand that language, it is called ogi, okay? In its raw form, you just soak dried corn, you soak it, you can mix several grains, you can add guinea corn, you can add different other grains and soak it for days to ferment. Then you blend it and you sieve it, or sometimes you leave the chaff inside so that the fiber content is high. You just soak it, ferment it, blend it, and then you keep it, and it's ready to be used for different food preparation. Now, usually some water is kept on top of it. And what I personally do is to just dip my cup and take some of the water on top of the raw fermented grain, blended grain product. And I just take a glass full and I just drink it. Very rich in probiotics. So that's a good way to do that. But if you want to be more, how do I put it now, more sophisticated and more refined, as it were, then you can go for ready-made probiotic products that are sold off the shelf and over the counter. You can order for probiotics. They come either in liquid form or they come in powder form or in capsule form, most popularly in capsule form. And then they will tell you the type of active bacteria that is inside. Is it lactobacillus or bifidobacillus, all kinds of different types of bacteria that are there. They will list it for you, and the concentration per capsule, it is measured in CFU. So you have it like 1 million CFU, 1 billion CFU, 10 billion CFU, 30 billion CFU. Now for adults, I would recommend nothing less than 10 billion CFU per capsule if you want to take probiotics. Children, of course, can be lower, 1 million to 1 billion or thereabout. But for adults, 10 billion. And it's also better when you have multiple strains, different types of friendly bacteria, not just one type. And that helps to populate your gut at the end of the day. I hope I answered those questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So to go to some other questions, there are some questions, like I said, that we cannot answer here because it is questions like someone asked about diabetes, that, how to, that there's a whole study, and one of the things that we'll be doing either on expose or on this one is to talk about diabetes. Reverend has a book on diabetes, so it's a whole thing. It's not just something that you do one time. There's a whole list of things, and we might not be able to go into that now. So we'll probably wait for when we do a diabetes talk to be able to go into that, since that is more of a topic on its own. Someone said, what about daily supplements? Do they affect immunity? Do daily supplements affect immunity?
Yeah, supplements are of different kinds and they serve different purposes. So if you're taking supplements, you need to know exactly what benefits those supplements can confer on you. There are some supplements that are immune boosting supplements. There are some supplements that are anti-inflammatory supplements. There are some supplements that are detoxifying supplements. Some supplements are supplying missing nutritional factors, vitamins, minerals, trace minerals that may be missing in a person's diet. So it depends on exactly the type of supplement and the purpose of the supplement. But definitely, there are certain supplements that support immunity.
Good, great. Thank you, sir. Someone said, and I just want to take that out of our questions. He says, sir, can we have in clear time some of the Nigerian foods that can boost our immune system? He has gone over that. And the first thing he did, which is the biggest part of it, is Reverend went over the things that affect our immunity before he even talked about the things that boost our immunity. So it is, some of the foods we eat are okay for us if there are some things that we don't even touch that affect our immunity. So he first went over the things that affect our immunity. And I think that is what everyone should first, pay attention to, the things about sugar, the things about things and all that. And also, then he now talked about the things that boost our immunity. He mentioned a lot of things, nuts and things like that. So that we will just consider it answered. This video will be available on YouTube, so it is very okay for someone to go back and listen to it. Reverend shared a lot of details, and it is better to go back and listen to it. Now, how can someone with high blood pressure boost their immune system? And I believe that one too has been answered. It is especially in the things that we take specifically. It is not about addressing the condition, it's about addressing your body and the things that can help you.
If I may come in there is also, I've done a DVD on healing hypertension naturally. And I have an 8-pronged strategy discussed in that DVD. If you can lay your hands upon whoever asked that question upon that DVD, that is going to help you to address your BP. Thank you.
Good. There is a DVD out. We have bulletins that has written things for people that like to read, that also mentions multiple things that you can do to address that condition. Now, someone asked, is sex in marriage good enough exercise to keep your lymphatic system active?
Anyway, a good question. Sex has its role when it is done within the context of legitimacy. That is within the context of marriage, then it has its own role. But I would say definitely that the amount of exercise you get in the act is not sufficient to make up for your daily exercise. You still need to do additional one to make up. That is not enough.
Good. Okay. Thank you, sir. Now, another question we have here. One person said, please, we want Reverend to recommend detoxification tea or substance that can be taken to get rid of inward filth. I think there's a whole page that mentioned that and talked about a lot of things that help you. The SCRT is one of them and multiple things. And we have some natural things too that is available that we can access. Unless Reverend has one or two other things you want to mention with regards to things you can take for teas that you can take for detoxification.
Admin, can you check the screen? Okay, it looks like somebody's trying to share screen.
Oh, okay, no.
All right.
Okay, so now, is it possible for the immune system to fight bile? That is a question that I don't.
Bile is not an antigen, okay? The immune system actually fights antigens. In other words, antibody generators. Anything that is foreign to the body, that comes into the body trying to invade the body. That's what the immune system, hunts for and tries to engage and attack. But bile is a structural collapse, more or less, of the body. It's part of the body. It's not a foreigner. So the immune system is not what fights bile. When you want to deal with bile, you are trying to kind of renovate a part of a building that has collapsed, more or less. That's what addressing bile has to do with. Again, I have a small one-page document that I have prepared to support those who are addressing bile, whether it is internal hemorrhoid or external hemorrhoid or anal fistula or any of those other things that afflict the anal area. If anyone will send a request and their email address, we can always forward that one-page guideline to such people. Okay,
thank you, sir. Now, one other question is, which I will probably address. So what could make the immune system go moribund, as autoimmune disorder and all that? That question has been answered in the slide, please. I want you to go back to YouTube to go and visit, just go to our channel. It's called TSFChurch International. And then look for the videos there for today. You will see the video there, and then you'll be able to view exactly the answer to this, because there's a page that even contrasts both, as in autoimmune and issues with your immune system, both on the other side and on positive and the negative side. Okay, now, how do we perform liver, kidney, and colon cleansing? That one, I think we'll probably jump to another question, because that one involves him addressing each one of those things. There is CDs, there is documentation that is available right now on the chat. It's been posted where you can get to our church. Some of those CDs are as small as 250 naira. It's nothing. But when you sit down and listen to it, the information that you'll get on it is very, very important, because it will help you. Then it's easy for you to keep listening to it and then follow the steps as it advises you on how best to address some of those stuff. Sir, is it true that stress could increase body weight as a result of cortisol it releases?
Yeah, when a person is under stress, there are different ways that people respond to stress. And their response to stress usually will determine the kind of experiences they have, especially regarding their weight. Some people under stress actually eat more. They become more voracious. They eat and eat and eat as part of their, because for example, when people have mental stress, they are burning a lot of glucose and the body wants more and wants more and wants more. So they overeat, and that will make them to gain weight. Similarly, with the hormones being released, stress hormones being released, all of that in combination with their overeating habit will make them to gain weight. A few people have the opposite. When they're under stress, they lose appetite, they don't have time for food, and they lose weight.
Okay. Now, I have two questions here that talked about how, one said, explain how ginger, garlic, and lemon can be used to naturally boost immunity. I think that has been addressed, but I will make reference to it. Let me read the second one that says, in your broadcast of May 12, you talked about combining ginger, garlic, turmeric, and all that, lime, and all that. That question was asked last week, I believe. And I believe last week, Reverend went ahead and mentioned some of the things that you can do when we did the COVID presentation, and including mentioning the number of cloves of garlic you can take and things like that, representing certain like amounts and all that. So then he also mentioned the other side of it too, which includes for those who want to take it as tablets, that is available. There are daily recommended amounts on the tablets, and he said you could read that. So I think that has been addressed. Last week presentation, you could listen to it. It has more information than just a fix-it kind of approach. It is more of, okay, the reason why we're doing this is this. So I believe those two questions, I can strike them out that when you listen to the presentation of last week, it will affect that. So then one person asked what's the side effects of ginger and garlic and one overdose on it. That was asked too, and that was addressed too in that presentation. Now, one other question I think I have here is, okay, I think I'm looking through it now, and I think based on referencing the materials we have and all that, we've already been able to address them. We had like four questions on, well, one person, which is probably the last question we'll take now, says, do you encourage continued usage of multivitamins daily to boost immunity, or what do you suggest? Now, Reverend might talk to it now, Reverend will be talking to it now, but I will still want the person to refer to the thing that we did last week, in which he highlighted some specific minerals that are deficient in our body and the reason why and what each one of them does. He talked about zinc when we were talking about COVID. He talked about vitamin C and some things. And all those help us understand exactly what we need, what each one of those things do. And because the thing that we hear is just take supplements, just take supplements. He addressed it last week and he talked about, especially those two, I remember correctly, he talked about zinc and vitamin C. So yes, continued usage of multivitamins, but it's just that I will advise based on experience. There was a time my wife had to throw away all the multivitamins she had in the house and bought new sets. It depends on who manufactures it too. You have to make sure that you're getting the right one, not something that is just more of chalk than the actual thing that you're trying to take. If you're using the packaged one. Reverend, do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, when it comes to supplements like multivitamins, multiminerals, I call them gap fillers, and that's why they are called supplements. It's like the main budget and the supplementary budget. The supplementary budget is to fill the gap, make up for whatever deficiencies exist in the main budget. Your food, what you eat every day, your diet, that is the main budget. That's where you should be getting your vitamins, your minerals from. There are foods that are rich in zinc, for example. You can get zinc from brown rice or local unpolished rice. You can get it from ginger. You can get it from cashew nuts and what have you. Those are food sources. For vitamin C, you can get it from oranges. You can get it from cabbage. You can get it from broccoli. You can get it from cauliflower. You can get it from kiwi. You can get it from bell pepper. We call it tatache in this part of the world. You know, the yellow one, the red one, the green one, the yellow one in particular of bell pepper, very high in vitamin C. So there are many sources, food sources for all the vitamins. The only reason we still take them in supplement form is because of the way these food items are grown these days. They are grown on soils that have been farmed and over-farmed, that there are no more nutrients in the soil. So they now use fertilizers to just supply a little bit of the nutrients. So our food no longer supplies the full complement and 100% of our recommended daily allowances for all those nutrients. That's why we take supplements to supplement them. So if you say, can I take vitamins for life? Can I take minerals for life? It depends on whether your food is supplying enough or not. If your food is not supplying enough, then you continue to supplement. But if you are sure that your food is furnishing you with adequate amounts of all the micronutrients in particular, then you don't have to supplement. You can be getting it from your food. Just by way of adding this also, for those who have asked questions about pile and so on, and any other question you have for that matter, someone has posted our email address already in the chat room. If you go there, you will see it there. Rapha Institute at TSFChurch.com. Rapha is R-A-P-H-A, R-A-P-H-A, one word, Rapha Institute at TSFChurch.org. Sorry, .com, .com, TSFChurch.com. Rapha Institute at TSFChurch.com. Any mail, any question you send there will get to me, and I will give you a personal attention. I send you the documents that you want. People are asking, where do they get the books? If you're in Nigeria, the book on defeating diabetes, you can get it at Havila Health Haven at Alausa Shopping Mall. You can get it at TSS Bookstore at 18 Shogunle Street, Abule Onigbagbo Ikeja, off Mobolaji Bank Anthony Way. Or you can go online and send a question, and we give you directions as to where to get it. Very soon, hopefully in the next 1 month, it will be available also at familabooks.com. You can download the digital versions of our materials there. Famila, F-A-M-I-L-A, books.com. And the digital version, downloadable version, will be available on that platform in the next 1 month by the grace of God.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Some other questions came in, but I think we'll just take only one. Like you've already said, you've given the email address. The email address is in the chat, please. And Reverend mentioned it. That's the one that we get to respond to based on the questions. And the question that we have here is, how can we boost immune system of a kid with cerebral palsy? That question I've been asked for a while. And
now, cerebral palsy is not a problem of immune system. It's a problem of genetic disorder in that child. So it is not that the immune system of the child is weak. That's why the child developed that condition. But there is, I don't want to go into details. You have this Y and S chromosome, 23 chromosomes from here, from daddy, 23 from mommy, and then they form the number of chromosomes that a child has. But sometimes those chromosomes come in awkward numbers, and that is what normally leads to some of those congenital problems that, or these problems that these children are born with. So for cerebral palsy, for Down syndrome rather, Down syndrome is the chromosome 1, the cerebral palsy, all of them affect the neurological system of that child. And so it is not a question of immune system. Of course, everybody, whether they have cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, or any other condition, everybody needs a strong immunity. So if you're asking a general question, not because the child has cerebral palsy, but because that child is a human being who needs to have a strong immunity, then yes, I would say that apply all the principles that we have shared concerning how to boost immunity for that child. I don't know the age of the child. I would have been able to get more specific. So if you send me a direct question, I'll be able to give you specific answers as far as that is concerned.
Okay, thank you very much, Reverend. We'll take a break now. We want to show the information on the Healthy Living Institute and information on Expose. Expose is a shorter program, it's not this much, but it takes time to address specific things too. So let's watch.
My name is Innate, a graduate of Rapha Institute of Healthy Living, a school run by Reverend Akinyemi, where we are taught how to take care of our health using basic healthy living principles. My coming into contact with the school has changed my life for the better. Prior to that time, I had been diagnosed with arthritis, I had pains all over me, I had difficulty in breathing. But since I decided to take the principles taught in the school seriously and I followed them, I discovered that my health has improved, I am free of pain, my breathing has stabilized to such an extent that I can run a gym. Can you beat that? So, I want to invite you, come, join us at RiHL Institute of Healthy Living. Let's learn together how to reverse supposedly irreversible diseases using nutrition and lifestyle. All are basic principles. Your life will not remain the same again.
Hi, this is Tony Akinyemi. About the age of 36, my health began to decline. And by the age of 39, things were so bad. I had over 30 different symptoms in this one body of mine. And I wasn't sure I was going to see my 40th birthday. It's been 20 years now. I recently celebrated my 59th birthday, and I'm looking forward with excitement to the glory of God to my 60th birthday. I have learned so much on this journey, and I'm really excited to share these nuggets with you. I believe that the best prescription is knowledge. The Bible says, "For by knowledge shall the just be delivered. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." You see, God has made all the arrangements. He has made supernatural provisions as well as natural provisions for our recovery, to navigate us from disease to wellness. There are many wonderful things around us in abundance, available and affordable, and they can be used to enhance our health. And these are the things I'll be bringing to you every Monday on Expose. I will also have international experts from around the world who will be joining me from time to time so that we can unveil and we can disclose basic secrets for improved health, for super health, for wellness. And that on Expose every Monday at 8 p.m. West African time, GMT +1, on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Invite your friends, your family members, your neighbors to join me on Expose every Monday at 8 p.m. West African time on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Your life will not remain the same. There are no incurable diseases, there are only incurable people.
Okay, thank you very much. We want to appreciate Reverend for this time. And at this time, it's only fitting that we still call on you to pray. We believe in Jesus Christ, and we believe in the power of prayer. And we want to call on you to pray and round this session up for us. There are some questions that are still coming. We're going to compile them, and then we're going to handle them another time. And we want to thank everybody for being online. Reverend, please go ahead and do closing prayer for us.
All right, let us pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity we've had to have this conversation. Thank you for giving us information for our transformation. I pray for grace for everyone to be able to deploy all the resources available at their disposal to take care of themselves and to enjoy good health, long life, peace, and prosperity. I pray for those who are sick at this time, whatever the nature of the illness. I pray for your healing touch upon them by the stripes of Jesus. I rebuke those diseases in the name of Jesus, and I speak the word of healing, the word of faith to you where you are. Let God's healing power touch you right now. Those who cannot sleep, receive grace to sleep like a baby and be refreshed. I rebuke insomnia. Those who are believing God for the fruit of the womb, receive God's miracle, your miracle babies in the name of Jesus. Whatever the affliction, let it terminate, let it expire. Receive a fresh start, a new beginning for a healthy, bountiful, glorious future. To the glory of God, to the shame of the devil, and for your joy. And so shall it be. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Praise God.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We appreciate you. We had over 284, about 284 people log in, and also over 50 people on YouTube. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Thank you.